Every morning you have two choices: to wake up with the same tired mind of yesterday, or to rise with the power that can change your entire destiny. Think about this: the moment you open your eyes, you are not just starting another day, you are starting a new life. Each sunrise is a reset button. But most people wake up carrying yesterday's worries, yesterday's failures, and yesterday's excuses. They rise, but they don't awaken. That is the difference between merely living and truly living powerfully. Today, I will share with you 3 things to say every morning, simple, yet profound, so that you do not just wake up, but wake up powerful. The morning is not just the beginning of another day, it is the opening chapter of your life story that has never been written before. It is fresh, untouched, and filled with possibilities. Yet most people rush through it, blind to its power, unaware that how they spend these first moments sets the entire tone for what follows. To understand the morning is to understand the foundation upon which everything else will rest. Just as a building cannot rise higher than the strength of its base, your life cannot rise beyond the strength of the way you begin your day. Think of a musician tuning their instrument. Before the concert begins, before a single note is played, the strings must be adjusted, aligned, and made ready. If they are not tuned properly, no matter how skilled the player, the music will sound wrong. Your morning is the tuning of your instrument. It is when you decide whether your day will play a song of harmony or discord. Yet how often do people treat it as background noise, something to be hurried through, something to be endured instead of cherished? The power lies in recognizing that those first moments are sacred. When the world is still quiet, when the noise of demands and obligations has not yet invaded, that is the time you hold the steering wheel of your mind. But if you let that opportunity slip, if you let your first thoughts be shaped by distractions, then you surrender your power before the day has even begun. Waking up and grabbing the phone, scrolling through messages, or diving into news is like letting strangers walk into your home before you have even opened your eyes fully. The foundation cracks before it is even built. Instead, imagine what happens when you guard those first minutes like a treasure. Imagine sitting with the silence of dawn and allowing yourself to breathe deeply, to feel the air filling your lungs as proof of life. There is a calmness in the morning that is unlike any other part of the day. It is not meant to be wasted. If you honor it, it becomes your ally. If you neglect it, the hours that follow carry the weight of that neglect. The power of the morning lies not only in the physical world, but in the inner world. Your mind is most open, most impressionable in those early minutes. It is like soft clay that can be shaped into strength, gratitude, or clarity. But if left unattended, it hardens in the shape of worry, complaint, and fear. Many people say they want change in their lives, yet they wake up repeating the same patterns that built yesterday. Change cannot arrive if the morning is treated carelessly. Think of nature itself. The sun rises with consistency, never failing to appear. Flowers turn toward the light, trees stretch upward, birds sing to welcome the day. Nature does not waste the morning, it celebrates it. There is a lesson in that. The morning is renewal, rebirth, and a reminder that no matter what happened yesterday, today is untouched. The canvas is blank. The question is, what colors will you paint it with? When you treat your morning as the most important meeting of your life, you begin to see its potential. Consider this: when builders construct a bridge, they do not rush the laying of the first stones. They know that every car, every traveler, every weight will depend on that foundation. In the same way, every decision, every conversation, every challenge of your day will lean upon the strength of how you began it. If you began hurried, irritated, and careless, the cracks will show. But if you began centered, grateful, and focused, your strength will carry you. There is also a spiritual depth to the morning. It is a moment when you can whisper to yourself truths that anchor you. Before the noise of the world fills your mind, You can decide who you are and how you will walk. Without this, life controls you. With it, you control life. Many people think power comes from external victories, wealth, recognition, or achievements. But the deepest form of power begins when you wake up and set your own inner direction. The morning is not something you should survive. It is something you should design. If you do not design it, it will design you. And often, it will not design you into strength but into weakness. Think of the difference between a person who begins the day with frustration, rushing out of bed, complaining, already tired before the sun has fully risen, and someone who begins with calm breathing, clear intention, and gratitude for life itself. Though they may face the same circumstances, their energy, their decisions, and their outcomes will not be the same. The foundation of the day is invisible but unshakable. Others may not see how you started, but they will feel it in how you move, how you speak, how you handle pressure. A strong foundation does not need to announce itself. It shows through stability. The one who has prepared their morning will walk into storms with calm, will face obstacles with courage, and will not be easily shaken. This is why the morning is not just the beginning of time, it is the beginning of strength. The key is simple yet often ignored. Protect your first words. Protect your first thoughts. Protect your first emotions. Do not allow them to be polluted by negativity or distracted by meaningless noise. Plant seeds that will grow into courage, patience, and clarity. In those first moments after waking, you are not only setting up a day, you are setting up a life. Because a powerful life is nothing more than a collection of powerful days. And every powerful day begins with a morning that is treated as sacred. The first words you speak in the morning are like the first strokes on a blank canvas. They determine the mood, the energy, and the meaning that will carry you forward. Among all possible declarations, the one that holds the most transformative power is Simple's, "I am alive, and this is my gift." These words are not just a phrase, they are a reminder that life itself is the rarest treasure you will ever hold. When you awaken and consciously affirm this truth, you open your eyes not just to another day, but to the miracle of existence itself. Consider how easily life can be taken for granted. People often wake up with complaints already waiting on their tongues. They think about their responsibilities, their unfinished tasks, their deadlines, their problems. In doing so, they overlook the most profound fact: they have been granted another sunrise. The breath filling their lungs, the beating of their heart, the chance to live another 24 hours. These are miracles disguised as ordinary events. Yet in truth, there is nothing ordinary about them. To wake up alive is proof that life has not finished with you, that there is more for you to experience, to learn, to give. Imagine the countless people who went to sleep last night expecting to wake up this morning, but did not. They planned tomorrow, but tomorrow never came. Their dreams remain unfinished, their words unsaid, their steps incomplete. Yet here you are alive, breathing, with the gift of time placed in your hands. This awareness transforms the way you see your morning. No longer is it a routine, it becomes a sacred beginning, a continuation of your journey that many others no longer have the chance to walk. When you declare, "I am alive, and this is my gift," you awaken gratitude within yourself. Gratitude is not simply a pleasant feeling, it is a force that shifts your entire perspective. It teaches you to value what you already have rather than mourn what you lack. It sharpens your focus on possibilities instead of problems. Gratitude, especially in the morning, is like light breaking through the darkness. It changes the atmosphere of your inner world. Problems may still exist, challenges may still await, but gratitude makes you face them differently, calmer, stronger, and more resilient. It is easy to underestimate the power of this one statement. People often search for complicated rituals, long affirmations, or elaborate routines, but truth is found in simplicity. Saying, "So I am alive, and this is my gift," reminds you of the essence of everything. Without life, There is nothing, no goals, no dreams, no relationships, no opportunities. Life is the soil in which everything else grows. By recognizing it as a gift, you keep yourself grounded in humility and lifted by appreciation. Think of someone who lives with constant dissatisfaction. They rise in the morning already burdened by what they do not have, complaining about the job they dislike, the bills they must pay, the relationships that disappoint them. Their focus is consumed by what is missing. Yet, when they overlook the very breath in their chest, they are blind to the greatest wealth they already possess. Now imagine another person who wakes up, places their feet on the ground, and whispers, "I am alive, and this is my gift." They begin their day with a spirit of abundance. They see each obstacle not as a curse, but as part of the privilege of living. The difference between these two individuals is not in their circumstances, but in their awareness. One begins empty, the other begins full. Gratitude also creates resilience. When life strikes with difficulty, those who have practiced gratitude find strength in remembering that even hardship is only possible because they are still alive. To be alive means to still have choices, to still have opportunities to change, to still have chances to grow. A person may lose possessions, face failure, or experience pain, but as long as they are alive, they are not finished. This perspective is why the simple acknowledgement of life as a gift can transform despair into determination. Science itself shows us that the mind responds powerfully to gratitude. It changes the chemistry of the brain, reduces stress, and increases clarity. But beyond science, there is an undeniable truth that you feel within your spirit. When you begin with gratitude, you carry light into the day. Darkness may visit, but it cannot dwell easily where light already shines. Saying, "I am alive, and this is my gift," is like lighting a candle within yourself every morning. Consider the rhythm of nature again. Each sunrise is new. It has never existed before and will never return again. The same is true of your day. Today will not repeat. Even if tomorrow comes, it will not be this day. By affirming life as a gift, you remind yourself not to waste it in trivial complaints or careless distractions. You are more likely to use your time with purpose, to treat others with kindness, to pursue your tasks with energy. You stop drifting and start living with awareness. There is also humility in this acknowledgement. When you say, "I am alive, and this is my gift," you recognize that life is not something you control completely. It has been handed to you freely, without guarantee of tomorrow. That humility gives birth to reverence, a respect for time, for people, for opportunities. You stop waiting for someday and begin living today, because you understand that today itself is extraordinary. To make this practice powerful, it must not be mechanical. These words should not be mumbled half-heartedly as you stumble out of bed. They must be spoken with sincerity, with awareness, with the weight of truth behind them. When you say, "Yes, I am alive, and this is my gift," pause for a moment. Feel your breath. Place your hand on your heart and feel its beat. Let the reality sink in. That awareness itself is the spark that turns words into power. This simple practice transforms the way you enter the world. Instead of being dragged by the hours, you walk into them with dignity. Instead of being crushed by responsibilities, you see them as opportunities that exist only because you are alive to experience them. When gratitude is your first step, every step afterward carries more strength. Each morning, you are handed a treasure chest called life. What you do with it is your choice, but the first step is to recognize it is a gift at all. And when you do, you begin not just the day, but the journey of living with true power. Life, no matter how gentle or how harsh, always arrives with tests. Some days the trials come like soft winds that only bend you slightly, while other days they arrive like storms that try to uproot everything you have built. Yet in every case, there is a truth that must be remembered: you are far stronger than you believe. This is why the morning declaration, "I am strong enough for what awaits me," carries such power. It is not arrogance, it is recognition of the resilience that already exists within you. Strength does not mean you will never feel fear, never feel doubt, or never struggle. Strength means that no matter how heavy the weight, you will not collapse beneath it. Each challenge that rises before you is not a message of defeat, but an invitation to grow into the strength you have been carrying all along. By affirming your strength at the start of the day, you choose to walk into life not as someone helpless before circumstances, but as someone equipped to meet them with courage. Think of a mountain standing tall against the elements. Rain falls, snow piles, winds howl, yet the mountain does not flee. It may erode slowly over centuries, but it never runs from the storm. That is the essence of inner strength. The morning declaration reminds you that you are not fragile like glass, you are resilient like stone. Yes, you may bend. Yes, you may stumble. But at your core lies the ability to endure. When you say to yourself, "I am strong enough for what awaits me," you are setting the posture of a mountain, rooted, unshaken, ready. Many people underestimate themselves because they measure their strength only by their victories. They think strength is visible only when they succeed, when they conquer, when they shine. But strength is often quiet. It is the mother who rises again after a sleepless night, the worker who returns despite failures, the dreamer who keeps building after countless rejections. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is the simple act of continuing. The morning affirmation calls this strength into your awareness so that you remember what you are truly made of. There is a psychological shift that occurs when you begin your day with this declaration. Without it, the first difficulty you face can feel overwhelming. A delay in plans, a harsh word from someone, a problem you did not anticipate. These can all weigh you down if you are unprepared. But if you wake up already declaring your strength, you meet obstacles with a shield of resilience. You do not crumble at the first sign of difficulty, because you have already told yourself, "So I am strong enough for this." The mind believes what it hears repeatedly. Words become convictions, and convictions shape reality. Strength also does not mean doing everything alone. It means having the courage to face what comes, whether it requires endurance, humility, or even asking for help. Many confuse strength with isolation, thinking they must never lean on others. But true strength recognizes that unity, patience, and vulnerability are also powerful. When you affirm your strength each morning, you are not promising to be invincible. You are promising to be unbroken. You are promising to rise even if you fall. Imagine two people entering the same difficult day. One begins with doubt, whispering to themselves, "I cannot handle this, I am too weak." The other begins with confidence, saying, "Whatever comes, I am strong enough." They both face the same challenges, but their experiences will not be the same. The one who doubts will retreat at the first sign of resistance, while the one who believes in their strength will endure and often overcome. This is not magic, it is mindset. The difference is not in the difficulty of the day, but in the inner preparation. The morning declaration is also a reminder of your history. Every difficulty you have faced before, you have survived. There may have been times you thought you could not continue, yet here you are. You have been through storms already. You have been knocked down, but you rose. If you were strong enough then, what makes you think you are not strong enough now? The memory of past survival is proof of future capability. Each scar is evidence not of weakness but of strength proven. Strength is not always about fighting. Sometimes strength is about patience. It is the ability to wait without giving up, to endure without losing hope, to remain steady while time works on your behalf. Saying "I am strong enough for what awaits me" is not only about facing battles, but about embracing the long roads, the quiet seasons, and the tests of endurance. It prepares you not just for action, but also for stillness. Consider nature again, the tree rooted deep into the earth. Storms come, winds shake its branches, lightning strikes nearby, Yet the tree does not uproot itself in fear. Its roots hold it firm. Your roots are your inner beliefs, your resilience, your capacity to adapt. When you declare your strength each morning, you water those roots. You tell yourself, I may bend, but I will not break. That belief carries you when conditions grow harsh. There is also freedom in this affirmation. Many times, people spend their energy fearing what is ahead, imagining scenarios where they fail, worrying about problems that have not even arrived. Fear drains strength before the challenge even begins. But when you begin your day affirming your strength, you replace fear with readiness. Instead of saying, what if I cannot handle it? You say, whatever comes, I will handle it. This mindset removes unnecessary anxiety and opens space for clarity and focus. The truth is that life will never stop testing you. There will always be something ahead, sometimes beautiful, sometimes difficult. You cannot control the weight of what awaits, but you can control the strength with which you meet it. That is why the morning is the perfect time to affirm this truth. Before the challenges arrive, you have already chosen your response courage. Before fear whispers in your ear, you have already spoken louder. I am strong enough for what awaits me. Every morning is the chance to strengthen the warrior within you. And when that warrior rises with conviction, no matter what the day brings, you will walk through it not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of resilience. Every day places before you a choice that is far more powerful than most people realize. That choice is whether to stay the same as you were yesterday or to grow beyond who you were. Growth is not automatic. It does not happen simply because time passes. Years may go by and still nothing may change if the decision to grow is never made. That is why waking up and declaring, today, I choose growth, is so essential. It reminds you that the direction of your life is not dictated solely by circumstances but by the choices you consciously make. Growth is rarely comfortable. It demands that you leave behind the familiar, the easy, the secure. It challenges you to step into uncertainty, to stretch your mind, and to open your heart to lessons that may be difficult. Yet, the discomfort of growth is far lighter than the weight of stagnation. To remain the same, to repeat the same mistakes, to live in cycles of limitation, that is a burden heavier than any challenge growth will ever ask of you. When you wake up and affirm that growth is your choice, you take responsibility for your life's direction instead of allowing it to drift aimlessly. Think about the difference between a seed and a stone. A seed, though small, fragile, and buried in the dark, has within it the power to break through the soil, to stretch toward the sky, to become something far greater than its beginning. A stone, though strong, remains unchanged no matter how much time passes. Many people live like stones, unchanging, unyielding, stuck in the same patterns year after year. But those who choose growth live like seeds. They allow themselves to be broken open, to struggle through the soil, to reach for light. That struggle is what creates life, strength, and beauty. Choosing growth also means choosing learning. Every situation, whether joyful or painful, carries a lesson. Those who resist growth see challenges only as obstacles, but those who choose growth see challenges as teachers. Failure is no longer a dead end but a classroom. Rejection becomes redirection. Even success itself becomes a lesson, teaching humility and discipline. Each morning, when you remind yourself, after day I choose growth, you tune your mind to look for wisdom instead of excuses, for opportunities instead of complaints. Growth requires courage because it will often push you beyond what feels safe. It may mean learning a new skill when you feel unprepared, speaking truth when silence would be easier, or letting go of habits and relationships that no longer serve your path. These choices are not easy, but they are necessary. The comfort zone is where dreams quietly die, while growth is where they are born. By choosing growth every morning, you train yourself to step out of that comfort zone consistently, even if only in small ways. Consider how rivers carve valleys and shape landscapes. They do not do so in a single day, but through steady movement, drop by drop, over time. Growth works in the same way. It does not require dramatic leaps every day. Sometimes it is as simple as being a little more patient than you were yesterday, listening more deeply than you did before, or showing courage in a small situation where once you would have retreated. These small steps, repeated day after day, shape the landscape of your character. When you choose growth, you also protect yourself from the weight of regret. Nothing is heavier than realizing that years have passed without change, that potential was left unused, that opportunities were ignored. Growth prevents this weight by ensuring that each day carries forward progress, however small. It transforms ordinary time into meaningful development. You may not become everything in one day, but every day you can become something more. There will be voices, both within and around you, that resist growth. Your own doubts may whisper, "It is too hard, too late, too uncertain." Others may discourage you, preferring that you remain the same because your growth unsettles their comfort. But by affirming your choice each morning, you silence these voices with conviction. You remind yourself that growth is not an option, it is a responsibility. To live without growth is to betray the gift of life itself. It is also important to recognize that growth is not a straight line. Some days you will feel as though you are moving forward quickly, other days you may feel you have fallen back. This is natural. True growth is measured not by perfection but by persistence. Each time you fall, you rise again, stronger, wiser, more resilient. Each mistake becomes a stepping stone. What matters is not avoiding failure but continuing despite it. When you wake and say, "Today, I choose growth," you commit to progress, not perfection. You give yourself permission to be a learner, to be a work in progress, to evolve without shame. This humility protects you from arrogance and keeps you open to change. It allows you to celebrate small victories and to see setbacks as part of the journey. In doing so, you free yourself from the prison of comparison and focus instead on becoming the best version of yourself. Ultimately, growth is the difference between existing and truly living. To exist is to repeat yesterday endlessly, to drift through life unchanged. To live is to expand, to deepen, to rise. Each morning gives you the choice again. Will you be a stone or will you be a seed? By affirming your decision, you remind yourself of the power you hold. No matter what the day brings, whether joy or sorrow, ease or difficulty, if you choose growth, you cannot lose. For even in pain, you will emerge wiser. Even in struggle, you will become stronger. Even in failure, you will move closer to the person you are meant to be. That is why these words matter. Spoken with sincerity, they are not just a declaration but a compass. They point you toward a life of progress, of meaning, of transformation. And when you repeat them each morning, you ensure that no day is wasted, because every day becomes another step forward in the endless journey of becoming. Words are not just sounds. They are energy, direction, and creation. Every word spoken is like a seed placed into the soil of your mind, and the harvest you reap tomorrow will come from what you plant today. This is why what you tell yourself in the morning is so crucial. It is the moment when the soil is most fertile, when your mind is fresh, unshaped by the noise of the day. If you plant negativity, doubt, or fear in those early moments, you will unconsciously nurture them until they grow stronger throughout the hours ahead. But if you plant words of gratitude, strength, and growth, you will watch them blossom into confidence, clarity, and resilience. Think of a farmer. He does not simply scatter seeds carelessly and hope for the best. He chooses carefully, knowing that the type of seed he plants determines the harvest he will receive. No farmer plants thorns and expects roses. Yet in life, people often plant words of complaint, frustration, or defeat, and then wonder why their days are filled with bitterness, discouragement, and failure. Your words shape your world, whether you recognize it or not. This is why the conscious decision To declare powerful truths each morning is transformative. The morning is a doorway. Before you step into the day, you have a moment of stillness, a pause, a silence that carries immense potential. In that moment, you have the opportunity to choose which world you will walk into, the world shaped by doubt or the world shaped by determination. By speaking words of power into that silence, you step across the threshold with purpose. Without this, the world quickly intrudes. Notifications, messages, demands, and news rush in like uninvited guests, and suddenly your mind is no longer your own. The foundation of your day is stolen before you even begin. Consider the difference between a person who begins the morning muttering, "I'm tired, I can't handle this, another hard day," and a person who declares, "I am alive, I am strong, and I choose growth." Though they may face the same external circumstances, the inner worlds they carry are completely different. The first drags themselves through the day as a victim of their words. The second moves with energy and clarity as the creator of their own reality. Words do not just describe life, they direct it. Science confirms what ancient wisdom has always taught: the language you use shapes your brain. Words activate thought patterns, and thought patterns create emotions. Emotions drive actions, and actions build habits. In this way, your life is a reflection of the words you feed yourself consistently. To speak words of power is to program your mind for resilience. To speak words of weakness is to program yourself for surrender. The choice lies in every sentence you utter, especially in the fragile moments of the morning. There is a story in every person's life of words spoken that either lifted them or broke them. Think back to a moment when someone told you that you could not succeed, that you were not capable. Even years later, those words may still echo in your memory. Now think of the opposite. When someone spoke belief into you, when they told you that you had the strength, the talent, or the courage, those words planted seeds of confidence that likely still live within you today. If the words of others hold such power, how much more powerful are the words you speak to yourself every morning? To understand the weight of this, look at the way leaders, athletes, or visionaries prepare themselves. Before they step into challenges, they speak affirmations of confidence and conviction. They remind themselves of who they are and what they are capable of. This is not empty ritual, it is the conscious shaping of the mind. The world will always test you, but if your inner language is aligned with strength, you will not crumble. If your language is filled with weakness, even small trials will seem unbearable. Words are not magic spells, but they are building blocks. When you wake and declare life as a gift, strength as your nature, and growth as your choice, you are not denying reality, you are defining how you will meet it. Life will still bring difficulties, but instead of walking into them unprepared, you walk with armor. Instead of being crushed by challenges, you bend and rise. The words you speak are not a shield that prevents storms, but they are the anchor that holds you steady in them. Imagine entering a dark room. Your words are like switches on the wall. Speak with despair, and you leave the room unlit, stumbling over obstacles you cannot see. Speak with power, and you flood the room with light, clearly seeing the path ahead. The obstacles may still be there, but you now have vision to move through them. This is why morning declarations matter. They do not remove life's difficulties, but they give you the clarity and courage to navigate them. The truth is, you cannot escape the influence of words. If you do not choose them consciously, they will be chosen for you by habit, by circumstance, or by the voices of others. This is why protecting the morning is so vital. It is the time when your mind is most open to suggestion. If you fill it with intentional affirmations, you guide your day with strength. If you let it be filled with random noise, your day drifts without direction. In the end, every world begins with words. The outer world you walk in is built from the inner words you repeat to yourself. Each morning, you are given the sacred chance to create. Plant wisely, speak intentionally, and you will harvest power. Waste the moment, and you will harvest weakness. The choice is simple, yet it requires discipline. To wake and speak life into your day is to claim authorship of your reality. And when your words align with truth, strength, and gratitude, your world begins to mirror that same power. Think of the people you have seen who, despite enormous struggles, still walk with light in their eyes. They may have lost jobs, faced rejection, endured heartbreak, or struggled through poverty, yet something about them shines. It is not that their path is easier, it is that their mornings begin differently. They do not wake up defeated. They do not allow yesterday's failures to decide today's attitude. Instead, they rise with a fire that is invisible to the eye but undeniable in their presence. That fire is lit by the words they choose to speak to themselves when the day begins. When you observe someone living powerfully, it is rarely because they were spared from difficulty. In fact, many of the strongest souls have faced the heaviest burdens. The difference is in how they greet the day. They use the morning not as a continuation of struggle, but as a rebirth into strength. They whisper to themselves, "I am alive, I am strong, I choose growth." These are not empty words, they are reminders of identity. They remind the individual that no matter how harsh the world has been, the authority to decide today's energy still belongs to them. Life is not fair in how it distributes circumstances. Some begin with advantages, others with obstacles. Some face storms early, others later. But life is fair in one thing: every person is given a morning. Every single sunrise is a chance to begin again. What separates people is not whether they are given the day, but what they do with it. To some, the morning is just a routine. Wake, rush, complain, survive. To others, the morning is a sacred ritual. Wake, breathe, declare, rise. Those who choose the second path carry themselves differently, and the difference echoes through everything they do. Imagine a person waking in the quiet of dawn, sitting for a moment in silence before the world begins its noise. They breathe deeply and remind themselves, "I am alive, and this is my gift." Immediately, their mind shifts from complaint to gratitude. They do not waste time resenting what they lack, because they are already conscious of what they have, the treasure of life itself. Then, they declare, "I am strong enough for what awaits me." Instantly, they posture themselves like a warrior, prepared not for an easy path, but for one that they will endure and overcome. Finally, they choose to affirm, "Today I choose growth." With that, they step into the world determined not to be stagnant, but to evolve, to learn, to stretch, no matter what comes. Now imagine another person waking the same morning, but beginning differently. They reach for their phone before even rising, letting the world's chaos flood into their mind. Their first thoughts are consumed by other people's noise, problems, and negativity. They mutter complaints about being tired, worries about what might go wrong, and frustration about what they must face. By the time they step into their day, they are already defeated. They may not realize it, but their own first words planted the seeds of their struggles. The contrast is striking. Both people wake to the same sun, breathe the same air, and walk into the same world. Yet one is a victim of circumstance, while the other is the author of their reality. The difference is invisible to the eye, but its effects are seen in their actions, decisions, and outcomes. This is the unseen advantage of living powerfully. When you train your mornings, you shape your destiny. It is tempting to believe that external conditions are the greatest determinant of success or peace. But again and again, history shows otherwise. People with wealth, fame, and privilege often live in misery, while those with little can walk with joy, courage, and strength. The secret is in how they master their inner world. And the inner world is always most vulnerable in the morning. That is why the practice of declaring life as a gift, strength as your nature, and growth as your choice is not small. It is foundational. Living with powerful mornings does not mean you will never face difficulties. The storms will still come, the failures will still sting, and the disappointments will still arrive. But when you begin each day by aligning yourself with truth, you walk into those storms with balance. You may bend, but you do not break. You may fall, but you rise faster. You may feel fear, but courage remains stronger. The practice of morning declarations creates an inner strength that is difficult to explain, but impossible to miss. Think of someone you admire not because of their success, but because of their spirit. Their resilience, their calm under pressure, their ability to inspire even when things are difficult. What you see on the outside is the reflection of what they cultivate on the inside. That cultivation begins at the start of the day. Before the world has a chance to shape them, they have already shaped themselves. That is the essence of living with powerful mornings. The truth is simple: you cannot control every circumstance, but you can control your preparation. And that preparation begins not with external tools, but with internal declarations. Your morning words become your armor. Your morning thoughts become your compass. Your morning choices become your strength. Those who ignore this truth are tossed around by the winds of the day, while those who embrace it move steadily, no matter how turbulent life becomes. This is why the morning should never be wasted. It is the moment when you decide what kind of person will walk into the day ahead. Someone carried by the weight of the world, or someone carried by the strength within. Those who train their mornings train their destiny, because destiny is not written in a single moment. It is shaped in the small, consistent practices that align the inner world with power. And when you live this way every day, you carry within you a quiet but undeniable advantage. You may not control the world, but you will always control how you walk through it. Picture the last time you stood at the edge of something new. A new opportunity, a new challenge, a new chapter in life. Maybe it was exciting, maybe it was terrifying, or maybe it was both at once. In those moments, the voice inside your mind becomes louder than any voice outside of you. That inner voice asks, are you ready? Do you deserve this? Can you handle what's coming? For many people, the answer whispered back is filled with doubt. And yet, for those who live with intention, the answer is a resounding yes. Not because they are certain of what lies ahead, but because they have already trained themselves to say the words that shape their reality each morning. The practice of speaking life into the start of your day is not about magic, nor is it about pretending everything is perfect. It is about equipping yourself with a mindset that refuses to be defeated before the battle even begins. When you wake up and declare strength, gratitude, and growth, you step into the world with invisible armor. The challenges still come, but they cannot pierce you in the same way. The setbacks still occur, but they cannot bury you. The difference lies in preparation, and preparation begins in the silence of dawn. Consider the way a seed grows. Buried underground, it cannot see the sun, yet it continues to push upward. It breaks through the soil not because the path is easy, but because its nature is growth. In the same way, your declarations are like the light the seed cannot yet see. They guide you upward even when the circumstances around you feel dark. You may not see the results immediately, but the persistence of your words builds the roots of your strength. Every morning you speak life into yourself, you are watering that seed of resilience. Life will always test you. It will throw unexpected storms, sudden disappointments, and moments where quitting seems easier than continuing. But when you live by intention, those tests transform into teachers. They do not exist to crush you, they exist to shape you. And because your mornings begin with clarity, you step into those tests already carrying the answers within. You remind yourself daily that you are strong enough, grateful enough, and willing enough to grow. With that foundation, no storm can truly break you. Many wait for external change before deciding to shift their mindset. They believe, if my situation improves, then I'll feel stronger. If I achieve success, then I'll feel grateful. If life gives me more, then I'll grow. But this is the reverse of truth. It is not the situation that changes first. It is you. Your words, your perspective, your discipline in the morning are what shape the outer results that follow. If you wait for life to change before you change yourself, you will be waiting forever. But if you start with yourself, life will gradually begin to mirror the strength you already carry. Think of it like standing before a mirror. If you frown, the reflection frowns. If you smile, the reflection smiles. The mirror does not change first, you do. Life works in much the same way. Your energy, your perspective, your declarations shape what you see reflected back at you. This is why the morning is so powerful. It is the first moment where you decide what reflection you will cast into the day. And so, the question is simple. How will you greet tomorrow's dawn? Will you wake distracted, defeated, and unprepared, letting the noise of the world dictate your state of mind? Or will you wake with intention, declaring who you are and who you choose to be? Each morning you are handed a choice, and in that choice lies the direction of your entire day. Those who choose power in the morning live with power throughout. There is an old truth worth remembering: the strongest battles are often fought long before anyone else can see them. They are fought in silence, in discipline, and in the words we choose to believe. The morning is your battlefield, and your words are your weapons. Choose them wisely, and you will walk through life not just surviving, but thriving. Because the truth is, you are far stronger than you think, far more capable than you believe, and far more destined than you can imagine. But to live this truth, you must remind yourself of it daily. When the sun rises tomorrow, let your first thoughts not be of doubt or fear. Let them be of life, of strength, of growth. Speak them out loud, not as empty words, but as declarations of who you truly are. And as you step into the day, carry them with you like a torch that lights every dark path. Because once you train your mornings, you will no longer simply wake up. You will wake up powerful. So as we come to the close of this journey together, remember this: every sunrise is not just another routine. It is an invitation. An invitation to rise above yesterday, to step into today with strength, with gratitude, and with a commitment to grow. The world does not decide how powerful your day will be. You do, and you decide it in the very first moments of the morning. Wake not as someone waiting for life to happen to you, but as someone ready to shape it. Speak words that empower, carry yourself with intention, and let your actions reflect the strength you have already declared. If you can win the morning, you can win the day, and if you can win the day, you can win your life. So tomorrow when the light touches your eyes, don't just wake up, wake up powerful.